Hello everyone, Joseph Dunphy here, and this is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the dairy edge. The PastureBase figures for the week: average farm cover is sitting at 675 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and the growth is at 12 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Dry matter percentages recorded over the last week: Moore Park was at 13% and Athenry at 15%. Soil temperature and rainfall predictions for the coming 7 days. The soil temperatures are expected to be between 6 and 7 degrees Celsius over the next week, and predicted rainfall amounts are variable, with 30 to 40 millimetres of rain expected for the west and the northwest, with 15 to 20 millimetres of rain expected for the south and the east. Your Grass10 tips for the week. This is a reminder to complete your last closing average farm cover on PastureBase this week. The last average farm cover of the year should be completed on PastureBase this week, the 1st of December, as this is the industry standard. Recording a closing average farm cover on PastureBase will allow you to quantify the amount of pasture grown in 2024 on your farm and allow you to accurately measure overwinter growth when you walk your farm next spring. The target closing average farm cover on farms with a high spring demand is 750 kilos of dry matter per hectare plus. Lower stock dairy farms, that's farms stocked at less than 2.0 livestock units per hectare, with a lower spring demand, should target an average farm cover of 600 to 650 kilos of dry matter per hectare today. This is the last reminder that the Grass10 team and PastureBase Ireland will host our annual live webinar next Tuesday, the 10th of December at 7 p.m. on Zoom. 2024 has been a difficult year for grazing management and utilisation, but it's still important to review your grazing year through your PastureBase reports. Dairy farmer Enda Armstrong from County Galway will review his 2024 grazing performance and identify grazing management practices to improve in 2025. And you can click in the link in this week's Grass10 newsletter to register. As we enter December, this is a reminder to prepare to get your farm soil sampled over the coming weeks. Ground conditions are good currently, so try and get soil samples taken before the January rush. Soil fertility is still a long way from where we would want it, with about 20% of the soil samples taken optimum for pH, P and K, so continued work is needed all the time. Take a soil sample every 2 to 4 hectares, or 5 to 10 acres, and also ensure that soil cores are taken to the correct sampling depth of 100 millimetres or 4 inches. The Grass10 team are always looking for ways to improve our weekly Grass10 newsletter. We would appreciate if you could take the time to complete our survey by clicking on the link in this week's Grass10 newsletter. It'll take no more than 3 or 4 minutes. And also, if there's any ideas for our Grass10 weekly podcast, can you email them to grass10@teagasc.ie. That's grass10@teagasc.ie. This week's featured farmer is Enda Armstrong from County Galway. Enda's closing average farm cover is 923 kilos of dry matter per hectare. His growth over the last 3 weeks was 16 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and his tonnage grown year to date is 13.7 tonne of dry matter per hectare. The settled weather made autumn management easier in 2024 on Enda's farm. He grazed full-time until the 1st of November and by day until the 13th of November with bale silage at night. He has a massive closing average farm cover of 923 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and this is ahead of his target of between 800 and 850 kilos of dry matter per hectare. However, he calves early and compact, so he'll aim to utilise it as best as he can in spring 2025. Enda has been focused on improving soil fertility on the silage ground this autumn, and he's applied 1 bag per acre of 0050 to the majority of this ground. Enda, as I've mentioned already, will be joining us on our Grass10 webinar next week to review his year and identify areas for improvement in 2025. If you'd like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc public website, and the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. We'd like to thank the sponsors of the Grass10 campaign: AIB, Grassland Agro, the Department of Agriculture, FBD and the Farmers Journal. This has been your Grass10 update, and I'll talk to you all next week.